Longton potteries may make you think of the large factories of Paragon China, or Ainsley, or perhaps the Pottery Museum of Gladstone, or this building, the Core, the centre of refurbishment excellence, here at the old Ensign Pottery Works in Short Street. So about 2 months ago, there was an article in the Evening Sensible newspaper in Stoke describing the opening of this fabulous bottle kiln. There's only 47 left in Stoke, and they've spent a lot of money refurbishing it, so it's open access to the public. You have to get the access code from Longton Library or the Glasgow Pottery Museum, and then you come and find the little door, put your code in, and come in this amazing exhibition. They've got lots of memories of people of Longton, so you can come and listen to the video, but walk around and actually touch the fantastic bottle kiln, which is how they used to fire the pottery before now. The 1956 Clean Air Act meant that you couldn't use coal and wood anymore, and it took till about the 1960s for people to swap over to gas and electricity. Some potbacks didn't make it, they went out of business, and the slow slide, including outsourcing to the Far East, meant that pottery within Stoke-on-Trent, the production numbers dropped and dropped and dropped. This is Short Street in Longton. It's the last random cobbled street in Stoke-on-Trent. It took me a while to find it. My friend told me that they'd filmed some of the exterior shots for Clay Hanger here in the 70s. What you might not know is behind here they're spraying cars. The owner kept the exteriors. Fool's paradise. Hopefully it won't be, because what we're going to look at in a little while are some of the amazing people who still work in the back streets of Longton and in Stoke-on-Trent and make amazing pottery. Arnold Bennett referred to Longton in his novels as Longshore, the town with the greatest number of bottle ovens. When they were firing, it was almost impossible to see your hand held in front of your face. The ovens are cold now, but can still be seen at the corners of dilapidated pottery factories.
Pottery. For this the architecture of the Five Towns is an architecture of ovens and chimneys. For this its atmosphere is as black as its mud. For this it burns and smokes all night, so that Longshore has been compared to hell. For this it exists, that you may drink tea out of a teacup and toy with a chop on a plate.
If you glance at this architecture now, it is a picture of decline. It's hard to believe that anyone still works here. Yet journey up these wooden stairs, pitted and worn by the work boots of hundreds of workers for the best part of a century, and you will find 3 businesses that are keeping the old pottery skills alive. Our first visit is to Peregrine Pottery, where we meet Paul Deeks. So the slip's been made in the blunger, and it's like a cake mix really. The consistency changes every day, is that right, Paul?
Yeah, we put it into a slip arc where it's stirred 24 hours a day.
Simplest form.
In the simplest form you could possibly think of, this is casting.
And am I right in saying that what happens now within the mould, that's absorbing the water from the slip, so the piece forms from the outside in, and so the longer you leave it in there, the thicker the piece will be.
That's exactly what it does.
And it's your skill to know when to tip the mould, really.
Yeah, I mean, we can gauge in time-wise over with experience,
yeah.
But I still cut into the waste parts to just actually get the right thickness.
So you check it.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
again,
they won't always be exactly the same. That's suppose with being handmade, that's what actually
well,
happens.
they're all individual, unique pieces, aren't
exactly.
they? So, Paul, are those mugs that you're scrapping off now?
Yes, they are, yeah.
And handles in there, of course.
The handles are already incorporated in the mould.
When did you pour the slip in?
Started this morning at 10 o'clock.
Oh, right.
About 45 minutes later, we can tip them, all the excess slip into the bench, which also goes underneath, and then we put it back into the arc.
Oh, right.
We can reuse it.
And all these moulds are made locally for you?
They're all made locally by a company in Fenton, which is called Ceramic 77.
Right.
So,
but they haven't got a really long life. How many mugs can you get out of a mould like that?
we normally get between 25 and 30.
Right.
On a good day, and then basically we just throw them away.
Oh, right. The moulds are left to set until the ware can be handled. It is then removed from the mould, the edges smoothed and fettled, and left until dry enough to fire in the kiln. This is the biscuit biscuit kiln for the first firing?
This is the biscuit kiln, what we use all the time.
Right.
It's, we place it as much as we can possibly get in.
Right.
The difference with the biscuit and gloss is we can actually pile things on top of each other.
All right.
They can touch.
All right.
Because basically the shrinkage, there's no glaze on, so
Okay, they won't stick.
so
or
you
anything.
can actually get more in a biscuit kiln
Okay.
than you normally can in a glaze kiln.
And this is electric.
This is all electric kilns
Yeah.
we use, as you can see. Really old kiln,
Is it?
but it's a very, very good kiln. It takes up to 5 hours just to get to 1,000 degrees, which is quite quick.
That's your firing temperature.
It's a firing temperature of 1,000 degrees.
Right.
Basically, that's fired up under fired due to the next process where we do the painting.
You want it to be porous, so it will absorb the paint. Am I right?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so if we go too high, you've got to use a different technique whatsoever.
Right. Okay.
In the next room, Emma Bailey is freehand painting.
Emma, I can see you decorating onto china here. Obviously you've been doing this for a while. Can you give me a little bit of a background as to how you got so good at it?
Well, I started straight out of school when I was 16 on Spode, not as a paintress or a gilder, but my mum had been there for years, and I used to sit at dinner times watching her, and yeah, I thought that's what I'm going to
Oh,
do.
right.
So, unfortunately, they had no vacancies for trainees at the time, so I phoned Wedgwood, and the next week I was working at Redgewell.
Oh, wow.
They had a brilliant academy for training. You can train up to 4 years there.
Decorating like
Decorating,
this?
yeah. It was only gilding, but I used to be sent out to all the factories, all the sister factories as we used to call them,
Yeah.
and picked up all different kinds of skills, from gilding to hand painting, which was a pain at the time, but I'm thankful for it now.
Look at the skill. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's an amazing. Do you think it's a dying skill, or are they still training people to do it
No,
now?
they haven't trained anybody. I'm 46.
You shouldn't be saying that.
And I was the youngest to be trained on
Really?
Wedgwood.
Really?
So the gap now it's pretty scary.
Right. You're obviously not working for Wedgwood anymore, so
No.
you've set up in your own business,
Yes.
based here in Longton. So what made you do that?
I didn't feel at the time that I had a choice.
Oh,
I'd been made redundant,
yeah, which is common within the industry, isn't
yes.
it? Yeah.
But I did work for a few factories also who didn't support single parents at the time,
Right.
and
That lack of flexibility, you mean?
that
things
lack of
like- yeah,
flexibility.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, give it a go.
Do it yourself.
Yeah.
Do it yourself.
So in 2010, that was it. I just thought I'll never work for anybody again, and hopefully, touch wood, I never will.
Right.
Um,
You like that control over what you're doing?
I do, even though it's scary.
Mm.
I actually, it's the most exciting feeling when you've painted something and somebody buys it.
Yeah. So we're in your lovely studio here in Longton, and one of the things that really made me smile when I came first of all were these fantastic shapes and patterns that you've all designed yourself
Yes.
out of your head.
All by myself.
And
yes.
I remember you told me this one's called Cherry Tree.
This is the cherry tree.
Okay.
The idea behind was, like we originally said, I wanted something bold.
Okay.
Bold but fresh. Obviously the red gives it the boldness, and
Yeah.
the black, but still with the white china behind it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you're getting a bit of everything with that. That's been my bestseller.
Has it really?
From that was my first design, and that stayed with me.
And around, I can see there's lots of pieces with gilding on as well, which is again something else that you can add to
yeah,
your
this
pieces.
is more prestigious because it's heavily gilded.
Right.
It takes a long time to do
Okay.
the 3 firings with that.
I was going
one.
to say an extra firing because of the gild.
Yeah.
Anita Harris uses a different method, decorating onto biscuit earthenware, using layers of reactive glazes.
Okay. So I'm with Anita today, again in Longton, and she's doing what she does best, creating these amazing, flamboyant, iridescent pieces of pottery. But I think the most staggering thing is the transformation, because, to be honest, I don't know how you tell the difference in the colours of what you're painting. How do you know it's going to turn out like that?
It's just years of experience, I think, and also if I show you this one, although it's a different shape, what I'm actually painting here will, when it goes through the kiln, come out like this.
Right.
Without the gold detail on, that's put on after.
That's applied later on.
That's applied later on. Oh, I started on a completely different technique, which was majolica, painting on directly onto majolica back in the 80s with a little firm called Hinchcliffe and Barber, and unfortunately John Hinchcliffe passed away recently, and they gave me a good grounding, I think, in ceramic design and actually hand painting, and that's how I started. And when they decided to set up in France and do like a summer school in France, obviously it wasn't practical or possible for me to go with them, so I missed it so much. I bought my own little kiln and started doing my own thing. Pottery is based in Dorset, so I thought, well, I'll pop along or give them a call, see if they'd be interested in any of my designs, and they were, which was amazing. And so I started really and got into this sort of thing at Pottery.
Right. The future of the pottery industry looks uncertain. The pot banks don't employ the massive numbers of people they once did, but we've been fortunate enough to visit 3 micro businesses run by enthusiastic, talented and creative people. Peregrine Pottery, producing quintessentially English earthenware, handmade by Paul Deeks and sponge decorated by his wife, Joanne. Emma Bailey, a unique ceramic artist who hand paints freely onto fine bone china in bold, vibrant colours. Anita Harris working in reactive glazes in a small studio where the pottery is painted and fired. Longton Lives producing individual items, handmade, unique, one-offs. They deserve to be helped and nurtured in the hope that they can teach their skills to future generations to ensure that pottery is still made in Stoke-on-Trent.